I can bring it across to you guys that the ANC is actually not fighting Umkhonto weSizwe, but the ANC is fighting Jacob Zuma. I can equally argue that Jacob Zuma is actually not in a fight against the ANC, but Jacob Zuma is actually aiming at the head of Cyril Ramaphosa. And unfortunately for us as South Africans and Africans watching from abroad, we are stuck in the middle of these messy situations. What should we do? How should we analyze this whole thing?
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I am your host, King 053, Mr. Easy Imali, Enengi, and we're back at it again with another one. And this time around, we're going to Bloemfontein at the court where the ANC is trying to deregister Umkhonto weSizwe party. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's another situation where we have to analyze it as Pan-Africanists and try to see what is happening here. Remember, what we are observing here, what we are watching here is children of the same house fighting for the legacy of that house or fighting for the inheritance of that house, as I explained yesterday. So we are not fighting our enemies here. We are not fighting our colonizers, even though you can argue that in the background, the colonizer still has some type of influence. But actually here is two brothers fighting each other. When I say brothers, I mean African against African. And the rule of Pan-Africanism is that when we fight our brother, we fight in hope of correction, and when we don't fight in the hope to kill. Let me say that again. The rule of Pan-Africanism is that when you fight your own brother, you fight with the hope that you're going to bring about correction. You don't fight with the intention to kill. I hope when I speak throughout this whole video that those words are going to stick in your mind. So the ANC has taken Umkhonto weSizwe and basically also the IEC to court to say, listen, deregister these people. Their registration was not done in a proper manner. This is not the case of the trademark of Umkhonto weSizwe. This is a different type of case where they want to actually deregister Umkhonto weSizwe from the electoral board, from the ballot paper, to say that. They want to take them out so that there must not be any Umkhonto weSizwe on voting day. Do we want to see that? As Africans, absolutely not. But unfortunately, the ANC has to see itself doing something to try and counter what Jacob Zuma has done since the 16th of December 2023. So they cannot sit still. They cannot just sit and watch this big political machine rising up without any funders. We don't know who's funding Umkhonto weSizwe, and we can clearly see that they are struggling funding-wise. They're not printing t-shirts like crazy. They're not printing posters like crazy. You don't see them with placards and flyers everywhere. The people of Umkhonto weSizwe are saying, Tumani Tina, ningasibizi sizazizela, meaning that send us, don't call us, we will come for ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? So the ANC is clearly intimidated about this Umkhonto weSizwe. Umkhonto weSizwe, on the other hand, they are using, you can say, the name Umkhonto weSizwe. That derives actually from the ANC. That argument can be made here and here, but me and you got to know Umkhonto weSizwe, or got to know about Umkhonto weSizwe because of the ANC. We know it was the military arm of the ANC. If I can give you an example, in Africa, we have what we call the African Union, the AU. But in the AAU, you've got something that is called the Pan-African Parliament. That is a leg within the AU. It does not actually work with the AU, but it's within that organ, if I could explain it like that. But anyway, let's just say it's your cousin. They are family, but not exactly family. Umkhonto weSizwe is a different institution from the ANC, because this one was specifically formed for military reaction towards the apartheid government. Now, Umkhonto weSizwe's president, Jacob Zuma, has come out and said some words after the court system, and obviously so the ANC Secretary General has also came out and said some words. Let's first listen to what Fikile Mbalula said.
Ability to what is a blatantly counter-revolutionary agenda. The ultimate aim of the initiatives to form a myriad of small political parties is trying to chip away from all angles the popular electoral support base of the ANC. In this way, those forming these parties are doing so at the behest of their counter-revolutionary masters, who literally pay them to liquidate the ANC, morally, politically, and organizationally. All this flows from the old age narrative suggesting that the ANC is too big, with the further argument that this is in itself not good for democracy. The ANC majoritarian has been a question mark and a sore point among our counter-opponents here at home and globally. Essentially, the size and political posture of the ANC is not good for those whose unjust material interests are threatened by the advent of freedom and democracy. These are forces which over the years have been arrayed against the ANC as the embodiment of the forces for change. Having failed in their various attempts to chip away from moral and political hegemony of the ANC, they have now concentrated themselves as stealing the assets of the African National Congress to create new organization at the direct expense of the ANC. As the ANC were not perturbed by the mushrooming of many political parties, as that is partly an expression of democracy. Even as we know the clandestine forces behind these various initiatives. However, what we will not tolerate is anyone stealing the assets of the organization. The main reason why these forces want to liquidate the ANC politically and organizationally is because of the progressive stances the ANC has taken on both domestic and international matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the ANC has to see itself at least fighting this case, because their case, even though it does not look like they will win it, because the IEC is clearly on the side of Umkhonto weSizwe. If you have listened to the whole court case, I was listening to it almost falling asleep with these boring arguments that were being brought from the ANC and what the IEC said and what Umkhonto weSizwe. For me, it was like, we are here for nothing. We are listening to a nothing case. You understand? I would be 1,000,000,000% shocked if the ANC could win this case, and I'm very shocked that I'm actually saying that, because I know the ANC has got the courts in their hands. But in this situation, it looks like the ANC is just huffing and puffing at hot air. Nothing is going to come out of it. But they have to be seen fighting this thing, because percentage-wise, 20%-wise, they do have a point. They do have a point, but their point is not material enough to carry the argument in court. But anyways, so Fikile Mbalula has to say something. You know, very soon they'll be humbled. The arguments have been brought across. The ANC spoke their word. The IEC spoke their word, Umkhonto weSizwe spoke their word. The judges are saying, listen, we have heard what you are saying. We're going to come to a conclusion. Give us a few days. We'll come back to you guys. So they will announce that. In announcing that, before they do or after they do, there will be another court case about the trademark of Umkhonto weSizwe. So that will be a separate thing. The ANC is still trying to derail the MK party from doing what they're doing. I think that case has got a tighter, it's more watertight than this case of deregistering Umkhonto weSizwe. You understand what I'm saying? So again, Jacob Zuma has come out to a full crowd. People have driven from all parts of the country to come and witness this case. And Jacob Zuma has spoken to his people and said, listen, don't worry, there's nothing happening here. He gave them a history lesson on how Umkhonto weSizwe was formed and everything. Let me just play a snippet of what Jacob Zuma said.
And the youth said, we'll then have to take up the weapons and fight. So these two leaders, they were part of that youth league. So when they said, perhaps that time has come now, let us then discuss and convince other comrades that we need to fight. They took it from there and therefore brought a discussion out of the mother body. Finally, the alliance agreed that yes, but for the general members who were known, well known, so that it shouldn't said they are now part of this necessarily organization. It was then said because our leader Mandela had been the one pushing this discussion, he should then go and establish this organization. The ANC will remain an organization for the non-whites. Now that was done so that there should be a distinction between these two organizations. So that when either soldiers are found or whatever, or freedom fighters, they should know they belong to an organization which was a secret organization, not the ANC. And if you were an ANC member, but you did not join Umkhonto, it did not make it automatic that you are now Umkhonto. No, you remained ANC. If you were Umkhonto without joining the ANC, you are not necessarily ANC, you are Umkhonto weSizwe. I joined Umkhonto weSizwe early after its formation, and I was a member of the ANC, which was operating underground then. I was a member yeah. But I couldn't say because I was an ANC member, I was not automatically an MK. No. There was a difference. After the president of the ANC, Chief Luthuli, had proposed the name of this new organization, he told a story, which I've been telling all the time, that we use the sticks to fight. But if there is war, we use the spear. And he said, now that we are saying let us declare the war, maybe we should take our spear. If we take our spear to fight, which is normally carried by one person, now it is a whole nation carrying the spear. So it is Umkhonto weSizwe. But once that decision was taken, then Mandela was elected to establish Umkhonto weSizwe. As you know, in the ANC you join, you sign, there's your signature. In MK, you take a vow that I will die for this country.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of time, I will play those two videos on a separate video from this one. For now, I just want to argue as a Pan-Africanist that we don't see this from white parties. Especially here in Africa, you don't see white parties fighting white parties. It's only us as Africans that are forever divided. Even though we have the same goal, land without expropriation, take back the minerals, nationalize the financial sector, meaning there must be a state-owned bank, and all. We all have the same goal. Most of the political parties have got the same goal, but we find ourselves in this ballot paper, we'll be looking at more than 178 political parties. I mean, it's madness, ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, what are those other parties there for? Because the focus will be on the top 10. And most of them will not reach the top 10. So they will be reaching about 0.2%, they won't even reach 1% of the vote. We as Africans are too divided. And in this division, the African agenda gets pushed further down the line. We can never address this issue until we unite first. As long as we are not united, we can never address the African issue. Now, South Africa finds itself at a very specific, special place when it comes to the political environment. South Africa, if the ANC falls from power, and it looks like all signals indicating it might, if Mkhonto Wesizwe then wins this case in court and then merges with the ATM and merges with the PAC, merges with parties like the EFF and others, and try to get that 2/3 majority, then we might see a place in Africa where power is taken back, or let me rather say economical power is taken back via the ballot and via the law. There is no other country in Africa that has taken land, that has taken their minerals via votes and law. People took their things forcefully. As Africans, as Pan-Africans, you say we want our land. You don't negotiate for your land. What do you negotiate with when you are speaking to your colonizers? Your colonizers never negotiated with you when they took the land. Now that you have power, how does it make sense that now you have to negotiate your land back when people are busy milking this land? Looting this land to the last bits. De Beers is finished with the diamond mines in the Northern Cape. They are finished. They have moved out of Northern Cape. They have closed their headquarters here in Northern Cape and move it to Johannesburg, where they will be just doing polishing and cutting in Johannesburg. The people were left unemployed because of that move. De Beers is finished. The big hole is just sitting there for years now. Nobody's mining, nobody's doing anything when it comes to mine. You do get these small scale miners that are still trying to surf the ground where De Beers has left everything, you know. So we as Africans, we have a long way to go, ladies and gentlemen. A long way to go when we come to speaking about the African agenda. We want one Africa, one land, one Africa, one currency, one Africa, one language, one Africa, one army. We still have a long way to go. But South Africa, like I said, is in a special position where it can start something in the SADC. Should Mkhonto Wesizwe and EFF win these elections, if the ANC retains power, which is not an impossible thing that could happen. It's not impossible. There are other various factors that can come into play. IEC not being too clean, ANC doing a great logistic work on voting day and bringing the people to the poll stations and people voting, and they actually get something close to 51% and they win the election. Is possible. We're gonna see South Africa being set back 5 more years under the rule of Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC. Do people want that? You know, me and you can say no, but there are people that will say yes. It's a democratic country, ladies and gentlemen. So I think it is a risk. it is a risk for the ANC, even for this court, to try and entertain thoughts of deregistering Umkhonto weSizwe less than 80 days towards the elections. I mean, it is going to bring South Africa into a crazy place where we don't want to see that. We don't want innocent people dying. We don't want anything. And then you don't see any threats towards the ANC from Umkhonto weSizwe. Umkhonto weSizwe people are simply saying, allow us to vote for the party of our choice. The issue of Jacob Zuma running for president for the third term is something that we can debate after we see the elections. Now, after we see the elections, then we can deliberate on if Jacob Zuma can stand for a third term, or is there a coalition between the EFF and the MK producing Julius Malema becoming the new South African president. We don't know what's going to happen. But for now, the MK people are saying, allow us to have the right to vote for the party of our choice. And I think the ANC is showing us right now that they are sore losers. You know, in trying to deal with Jacob Zuma, they are now fiddling with a lot of people's right of association, of which this is what many freedom fighters have died for. The right to associate with the political party of your choice. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. You guys will tell me on the comment section. Did not want to go too much on the breakdown on what is happening in court there. For me, it's a waste of time, but I'm hoping that the courts will come to their senses according to what the questions they were asking the judges of the ANC, the lawyers of the ANC. You can hear to what angle they are going. And again, like I said, the IEC is clearly on the MK side. You know, they are saying, no, listen, we made sure that they submit their fresh application. In the first application, they said everything was all right, we accepted them. So the IEC does not want to find itself in a place where they have to deregister Umkhonto weSizwe, because they will then in essence be admitting to wrongdoing administrative wise. So they don't want it. So you guys go on the comment section, tell me, what do you think about this whole situation? Are you happy with the court procedures? Are you happy with them making us wait a few days? The suspense is killing us, man. We just want to know once and for all, is Umkhonto weSizwe in or is Umkhonto weSizwe out? That's all we want to know as South Africans. I mean, it's going to be interesting when Umkhonto weSizwe is in. CDA is going to suffer. The DA is going to suffer, the IFP is going to suffer, the ANC is going to suffer, the EFF is going to suffer. Umkhonto weSizwe will be taking votes from all of those people, especially those who thought they were big players in KwaZulu-Natal. Umkhonto weSizwe is going to show them flames. And one thing for sure, should they allow Umkhonto weSizwe to run for these elections, ANC will not see 50% in KwaZulu-Natal, and that will be the beginning of the end of the ANC. It's your boy King 053, Mr. Easy Imali. If it's your first time tuning in here, you are at home in your Pan-Africanist podcast. Please make sure that you click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and make sure you leave your thoughts on the comment section so that we can, communicate in that way. Until we meet next time, don't forget to pray. And after you pray, African child, stand up, do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.
Black Heart, the hustle continua. 100% good quality t-shirts, made to inspire your goals and dreams. T-shirts are now available at an affordable price. Place your order now. 068-473-6908. Instagram at Black7576. Facebook page Black Heart.